These last 10 days in Britain, long expected, have felt no less the curiouser for the living. Whether we like it or not, in this country, it is the axes of our monarchs against which we plot our ages, our lives. Monarchy gets inside our heads. So the mad thing is that the queue itself has now become a kind of entity. It's become something that people come and see and get their pictures taken in front of. There have been 2 nations at least this week. Those who understand why so many would make a pilgrimage for a death of a monarch near a century old, and those who couldn't.
Well, I mean, Queen Elizabeth put the people first every day of her life, and she gave so much. This is the smallest little thing that we could do to say thank you for everything that she did every day.
But for me, she's been such a constant. She's been our monarch for such a long time, and now she's gone. And we're thinking, what's next?
Should we ever queue up for a Prime Minister like this?
No. It's quite simple.
No.
No, I don't think so. No.
Even though we vote for them?
Yeah, we vote for people, sure. I'm not sure it makes any difference in the long run.
It's just something I needed to do.
You needed to do? You felt you needed to do it?
Yeah, I didn't want to miss it. And I think it's nice to say your thanks the only way you can.
Needs a strong word though, it's more than want.
Yeah.
I need it.
Yeah.
Like, where did that come from? What?
I can't explain it.
There's been so much talk of this. I had, I must, I needed. And when I really think about it, it's these verbs that answer my question of why they turn out for her, and never for those we choose, we elect. They honour her precisely because they didn't choose her fate, and neither did she. On paper, something which is hereditary shouldn't inspire this sort of mass democratic response. And yet it does. And the irony is that someone like Winston Churchill accepted, there is almost no democratically elected figure that could inspire something like this. It makes no sense, but then that's because monarchy doesn't. It speaks to this bit of us that is irrational and romantic and almost has this almost sort of magical, majestic element. And here we are. Today makes you realise why it's called a state funeral. It is, at heart, for and about the state. And after the pilgrimage along the South Bank, after all the egg sandwiches, the flasks of tea, the small acts of thanks, there was almost something cold about the pomp and the pageantry of the day itself. Something which spoke to the imagined best of a Britain that was, rather than the realised best of what Britain is. Because Britain is so much better at living in its past than at imagining its future. And in that context, we can't know what today represents, whether it's more than just the body of a queen we're burying. These things matter to nations. These expressions of nationhood, which Britain doesn't do very often. It doesn't express that Britishness very often. But in the context of a country where that Britishness, that sense of bond, has been fracturing, coming apart for years, the question is whether this is the renewal of something, the renaissance of something, the rebirth of something, something strengthening, Britishness strengthening, or whether it's the last gasp of something, and we'll look back at it as such. But it doesn't do to be too dewy-eyed about the past, to worry too much about decline. For when the Queen acceded, Britain was, just about still, an imperial power. But that was a power built on crooked legs, nothing to yearn for. Our lives in this country, especially for women, black Britons, British Asians, the working class, are better for all the problems that do exist than they were on that cold February day in 1952. Today, the 20th century's last great figure left the stage. Britain might never command it as it did for this final day again, but perhaps that shouldn't bother us. So often we focus on what has been lost. Just for once, in terms of the Queen's life and lifetime, we should think of what we've gained.